Welcome back to the More Smarter Show, the #1 business mindset and strategy podcast. This is episode 43 with your hosts, Jake and Dylan. Jake, what do we have on the agenda today?
Today we have Alex Fredericks. Alex is it fair to say you're CEO, founder, owner, operator, and everything of ToneWell, Alex?
Sure, head chef and bottle washer.
Awesome, love that. So ToneWell, Alex, tell us a little bit about what that is, please.
Sure. So ToneWell is a wellness strategy company. We take a 30-second voice clip and we turn it into a wellness report for our consumers. I live under the premise that the world is drowning in data, but you still come up short with answers of like why I don't feel well and why I don't function well. And what we're able to do with ToneWell is use your voice. So we're non-invasive, no blood, no urine, no hassle, and we run it through an analytic that comes out with 1,000+ biomarkers, and we turn that into a super easy to read report that has actionable answers so you can make the difference in your life today.
So this is something that I feel I would 1,000% use on a daily basis. I'm wondering though, I don't have any of the data that I think I would need to talk about to get like a more in-depth response of what
Sure.
I need, So am I saying like I need like this is my blood type, this is
Oh no, not
all
even
that?
close. So first off, we're totally frictionless. So like, one, I'm in your phone, you don't need anything. Two, I'm not looking to ask you questions. We're straightforward. First name, last name, email, phone number. That's it. Don't want to know about your family history. There's no bias in what you need to know about what's happening today. One of the things about voice that's super cool is that it's legitimately what's happening now. So you don't need to have a background in like, I have all of these stats, I have 13 wearables, I had my blood, I've done genomics. I mean, all of that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting any of it. But the reality is like when you're like, I don't feel well, you could never argue somebody's feelings because it's, well, how they feel. What you can try to do is help them change that, and that's what we're trying to do. So if you say, I didn't sleep last night, I don't feel XYZ, or I feel PDQ, it could be super simple. It could legitimately be like you don't have the right magnesium and maybe take a magnesium glycinate before you go to bed. It could be like your stress could not just be because you have an annoying girlfriend or a boss or like too many things going on. It could be that you're dehydrated and don't have the right mineral stack, right? So what we're able to do, what's super interesting about voice, is that when you speak, you are broadcasting your nervous system and your physiology at all times. So I can legitimately look at, and we as a company can show you all of the things that are happening, your minerals, your vitamins, your musculature, your organs, your hormones, because it's all part of like one integrated system. And we just generally discount the power of our own like human systems, right? And we rely on the to tell you that you need NAD or red light therapy, and all of those are cool things, but if you don't have a relationship with yourself, then what are you really doing? So what we really try to do is help people build better relationships with themselves. And that doesn't come with you walking in the front door with all of this, like, I have a backpack full of analytic. It's like, that's cool. I hope you got your blood drawn once or twice a year or went to the doctor and they gave you a diagnosis of like the huge things that are wrong with you. I'm trying to tell you what's going on with you. It's different. Like in business, when you're running a business, you could be like, I'm going to go tell you all of the problems that you have in your business, or I can focus on the thing that we can change today to make your business better. And that's how I look at the human being.
So am I right that ToneWell is I speak for 30 seconds and it knows about the internal things of what's going on in my body?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. It's totally Buck Rogers that way. So like the reality of it is as I just said, when you speak, you are a broadcaster. So let's go the other direction. If you were to ever say to somebody, I don't have the bandwidth for that, or that didn't resonate with me, or you better watch your tone when you talk to me. Those are frequency words, right? You might not correlate them, but they're frequency words. If you've ever put on a piece of music and like the hair stands up, and you're like, why did that happen? Because it legitimately resonated with you. Like, the cells do this. So that being said, and recognizing that like a CT scan and a CAT scan are just bombarding you with frequencies in a metal tube, like in a microwave, they bounce back, and I capture all of that. That's because what you are a frequency resonant wave. It's why your mindset matters. Because if you see yourself to be a loser, guess what? Gonna be a loser. If you see yourself to be like the winner and you start taking steps to be a winner, you are a winner. So the way that you speak, not the words, but what's coming out of you between the vagus nerve and what is the resonator of your chest, and your nervous system, which starts right behind here. Like all of those things are interconnected and they come out of you, whether you are aware of it or not. Like I have a guy in the insurance business that we did a pilot program for, and super cool dude, huge Hollywood guy. It's Cast Insurance. Did a ToneWell with him. He called me right up. He was like, dude, I'm a runner. Okay, cool. And I was at UCLA this weekend and I was doing wind sprints. Okay, cool. He's like, and I'm the last one, I pulled my groin. And I was like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. He said, and it says right here that my abductor is strained. And that's exactly what it is. How do you know that? And my stock reply is, I don't know anything. You're telling me this, and I'm just showing you what you've told me. So you just don't recognize that you've told me it.
How is that
possible?
What do they say in the 30 seconds?
Nothing. And that's the thing. Actually, we ask people not to read. Reading is thinking, thinking is processing, processing is the person you're pretending to be in your head. It's just speak. It's like running a car at top, unbridled. When you just let it happen, you naturally flow. So there is 30 plus years of white papers and hardcore research, MIT and Johns Hopkins, about using frequency for things like cardiology or ADHD, or again, like I said, how do you think a CAT scan or an MRI actually works? There's a spectrum. They're bombarding you with that specific spectrum. The way it bounces back, they're like, oh, that's the brain, that's the this, that's the that. QEEGs work the same if you ever had like a brain map done in real time. That's all electricity, and electricity is a frequency, and frequency has a hertz value to it, and that's the simplest explanation of it. It's why it's seamless, right? Like blood is awesome. Blood you use for big diagnostic, because I went to the doctor, I don't feel well, hey, let me run some tests. You go to Quest Diagnostic when you get the appointment, you've prepared the night before, you walk in, you got the test, they did the blood, they sent it to a lab, a couple days pass, the doctor calls you, let's call that 10 days. Your blood is not the same. Your blood is totally cycled every 3 minutes, let alone changes every couple hours, every couple days. So the reason that blood is good for diagnostic, big form stuff, is because I can still tell the value of your kidneys, or God forbid you have cancer or heart disease. Big markers. Those are like already happening. The thing with voice is that, like I said, it's the now. It's how can I manage my inputs? Meaning like I have digestion issues, maybe I should take a probiotic or eat more leafy greens. But these things you can tell in the moment. Now, they changed. Have 5 cups of coffee. Do your voice before and after. Believe me, it's changed, right? So it's really about the opportunity to, as I said, build a relationship with yourself.
So, Alex, this is fascinating stuff. And generally in the podcast, we don't like to go too much on the backstory and background. And we want to learn more about the current entrepreneur. But this is totally different. I want to Are you like a doctor in a past life?
See, it's funny that you ask, and now I might like blow my Batman mask or something, but like I started in the music business. It's totally relevant because when I started making records in like the late 80s and 90s, maybe I just dated myself a bit. I used to mix records with an oscilloscope on the mix desk. So you have all of these channels, and in the middle of the board was an oscilloscope, this like, round with a plus and a minus. And in that was this like infinity symbol that would do this. But when it was all fuzzy, you would literally say, hey, something's out of phase. So you would start at the bottom of your frequency stack and go all the way to the top. Is it the drums? Is it the bass? Is it the singer? Whatever. And when it was right, it would be super smooth. So it just clicked in my head. I understand signal and path. And then I spent a million years like doing consumer products, which is why when I saw this, I was like, oh, I know how to take it to the consumer. Skincare, cosmetic, fragrance, musicians, whatever. They're all the same. They go in a box. That box goes on a shelf. Somebody takes it home. They're like, cool, this is the greatest thing ever. They brag about it, and you sell more stuff. So I had a client in wellness, and they were doing something in the PEMF space, which is a great modality for recovery. I had a conversation with their science team that just ended with, oh, so you're going one way up the street, and I can come the other way back up the street. Let's do that. And what I mean by that is they were delivering frequency through waveform, and I was like, could you check out frequency through waveform? Come this way, and they're like, yeah, totally, whatever. 100 years since Tesla and Wilhelm Reich, all the way through modern science, there's plenty of research we could do that. And I said, cool, that's what we're gonna do. Because I believe in the consumer, which is like the long and the short of starting in the music business, find a band in college and be like, we're pirates, we're going to go take on the world, which is essentially what that is.
Yeah.
All the way forward to like today where you're like, I actually know how to have a conversation with the wellness person or the woman going through hormones or the biohacker or the whatever. And that's what ToneWell really became and is.
So it's $99 for a 30-second audio, which you then get back a results page. Is that correct?
Yeah, so our reports are like, we'll call them like 7 to 9 pages, depending upon what's going on. They're super simple. I believe in like Crayola crayons, like, nobody likes calligraphy any longer kind of thing. So we give you like a top 5 priority, red, yellow, green. I always start with green. Green is good. You should always know something that's going on well with you. It's like start from a good baseline. Like don't insult somebody first, right? And then we give you the yellow, and yellow is like, these are the things that should be on your radar. You should be aware of them. And then we give you the red, full stop. This is what you need to deal with. We have about 8 categories that we subgroup things into: digestion, stress, sleep, toxins, pathogens, like the 8 main buckets people ask about. And our report is broken down into super simple, what I call over-the-counter solutions for you. In the morning, do this. In the middle of the day, do that. By the end of the night, do this. Day 1, day 3, day 10. It's just about starting little habit forming, right? Yep. And that's really what we deliver. And then we also, in our emails, provide like an infograph, mostly because I believe people look at things before they read them. Like, I'll give you a 9-page report. There's a good chance you know a good majority of it, but like it hasn't clicked yet. But if I showed it to you on a pie chart, you're like, oh, I totally get that, or a graph, or whatever it needs to be. And that's what we deliver. And then from there, because we are a startup, I've never not answered an email when somebody's like, hey man, can you explain this to me? Or if X, then Y, right? Yeah. Like if I did this, what would then be that? Or like I deal with a lot of athletes and like peak performance people. So they'll say, can I get the data? And yeah, sure. You can have all of the raw data. I don't know if you can understand it, but I would tell you, take it and drop it into your favorite LLM who, whatever you've trained, and say, hey man, this is an analysis that I just got from my blah, blah, blah. And, you can use it that way. It's really important to me that people start finding answers. Like, yeah. I hate the, like, you need to depend on the authority stuff. Like, I think that's kind of where we've gotten to problems of having morons run the world. Because anybody can fake being an authority at something, right? So you being empowered is important.
I think I'm the perfect avatar for you because this week I stopped my Whoop subscription. After 2 years, I didn't renew it. I had a 2 years. I had a 2-year subscription, and like literally 2 days ago, I didn't renew it because I signed up for the 2 years because it was like the better deal.
Yeah, better deal.
It was like better deal. But after a couple days, I was like, wait, I have all this information about myself. Now what? I don't know what any of this means. I'm not a doctor.
Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck. I try not to
And here's the thing. And now you're paranoid and anxious about it, right? So, like, as I said earlier, like, I believe the world's drowning in data. So, like, again, I was born in the time of fame. You were famous for doing some shit, okay? Like, you were Amelia Earhart, you were Babe Ruth, you were whatever. You did something special. And then I grew up in the age of celebrity. You celebrated somebody because they were on the big screen, whatever. And now we're in the world of influencer. No big deal. But influence is micro and macro and how you move the needle in a specific group. And data, like information, is the exact same thing. It doesn't mean that data is knowledge. Knowledge isn't wisdom. It just means you have more of something. Me, in like the age of like data collection, I have no problem with wearables because I understand they're just an output device. So like if I was a runner back in the day, I have one of these things. They're called journals. And I wrote everything down, right? Like when I had to stop at the corner because there was a red light, I would do this and check my HRV. Right? And I would know how many miles, how fast, what I ate, what time it was, what the weather was, all of those things. And I'd have to write them down and then at the end of the month do my own accounting, so to speak. Right? Mm-hmm. And that to me is what a wearable is. It's just an output device. And frankly, it's literally at the end of the chain.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the mainstay of your body. This is like
Yeah.
the end of the subway line, so to speak. Nothing wrong with that. But what it's collecting is the output. So all it's giving you is like it surmises. It's not telling you the input, which is what I've said a couple of times. The input manages your output. Like imagine if you had a bunch of morons working at your company. That's your input. So what's your product going to be at the end? Pretty
Totally.
bad, right?
Moronic.
So like
Yeah.
when you're just managing that stuff, to your point, like you're like, okay, I have all, what do I do with it?
I mean, score, recovery score are the only things I understood and looked at.
So it's funny, we only give one score in our, I don't know, offering, and it's a coherence vitality score. And coherence means like how in tune you are with yourself, and vitality means like how well are you doing. And I've removed it from a couple people that come back multiple times because like it could really bounce up and down. And we have this female executive that seriously scored a 20 last week. And when I sent it to her, it freaked her out. And I was like, well, that maybe you had like a terrible day and you're just like not in tune with yourself right now. Like I can use woo woo words here for a minute and be like, maybe you're just not jiving with yourself today. But that doesn't discount the fact that like your magnesium was low. Right? Like maybe we can focus on like the magnesium or the boron or the zinc or eat the, like then like my score. Like we're so obsessed with like testing and scores that you're like, I don't even know what to do with that.
Yeah. I would imagine though that if you have a 30-second video of you talking and you're able to, match the tone to whatever, they're kind of feeling, I guess, but then also inputting 2 years of Whoop experience or data into the system, I would imagine that it's just outstanding results.
It
right?
is. So we're in I'm a startup, so I'm in my seed round raise right now, and our next iteration will have a platform to it. That platform, we'll call it like your own personal filing cabinet. I'll keep all of your ToneWells. I hope you do thousands of them. But then I have an open API section. Please upload your fill in the blank, don't care what it is, your 8 sleep if you got that dough, your aura, your whoop, your what have you. Please upload your blood tests and your HRVs and all of that stuff into a common receptacle for yourself. And then we're in the process of building out an LLM that is specific to 1, protocol, and 2, health, right? So health is like, this is the answers, but 1 is protocol. I believe in intentionality. Your intention and your attention need to match for you to do anything, right? So like, what's your intention? Want to lose weight, want to sleep better, less stress, whatever, want to run a marathon, whatever it is. And then where's your attention going? Do these things, do those things. So that's where we're headed because, again, like I'm not a gatekeeper person at all. It's like useless. I recognize that everybody does something differently. So like I was in the music business, right? And there are a million managers or a million people that you could have done. They're not going to do it my way. All of the information is the exact same. Believe me, the person sitting at the A&R desk for company XYZ is the same person. It's how do you go about getting to them and talking to them and building the relationship and the rapport. And that really is what well-being should be. I hope people recognize wellness is a sales category. Longevity is a sales category. What you really want is somebody's well-being. Like I really hope Dylan has a sense of well-being, that he's happy with himself and, that's really kind of what you should want for people. So everything else is just like, what can I sell you?
Yeah. So okay, I got like a million questions, but I'm gonna try. I'm trying to twist this into more business questions. But I'm so interested in this whole concept. But real quick, when did ToneWell start?
Well, it started about 2.5 years ago, but we launched it the last quarter of last year because it took about 18 months to go from this is what we're going to do to how do you ideate and iterate into what could be a commercial offering. So I have 2 sides of my business. One is direct to consumer. It's really what I'm super passionate about. And then the other one is enterprise. Like how do I do corporate wellness, telemedicine, insurance, having a conversation with the VA right now because I really want to help the veterans and those are big forum opportunities.
Yep.
So we had to figure out what does that look like? how do I deliver data to somebody on the enterprise side that's usable to them? You're a practitioner doing telemedicine. Dylan's going to show up in an hour from now, half an hour beforehand. He does a ToneWell. You get my report. Awesome, great. But I, as the practitioner, get all of the data so that I can diagnose. It's a word I avoid in ToneWell because I'm an analytic, medical adjacent. I want to analyze something with you and give you the answer. Diagnostic is for the practitioner, the insurance company, the blah, 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 blah. Right? In government operations, I talk about operational readiness. Exact same thing, different vocabulary. So to answer the question, we launched in December of last year.
Okay, so you launched in December of 2025, but you really kind of started this whole idea back in 2024, maybe. So what's your history of repeat customers? Do you know that answer?
Yeah, absolutely. About 85%. So one of the things that's interesting is somebody will say to me, well, how do I get a baseline? And my answer is like, well, that's actually on you. It's like we've given so much autonomy and power away to people that you don't stop and think about like it's your life. Maybe you cause your own baseline. So they'll say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if you did it at 7 o'clock the first time, maybe the second time also do it at 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like before you've had coffee, before you've taken your supplements, so that you can begin to match where you're going. And then the other side of it, it literally is it's a how do I feel machine. So we have mothers and fathers using it for their kids. Is Johnny really sick, or are they lying about the math test? We have a lot of peak performance people, meaning athletes and biohackers and whatever, that are playing this long form game in their own head, and they need information now. Like I'm about to go do a workout. I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and I have a lot of jiu-jitsu guys that use it, and we're using it because I have a competition coming up and I'm training. How do I recover better? So that becomes the opportunity set. Like, where is it that you want to use it? It's a Swiss Army knife. You tell me, and then we can build out that protocol opportunity.
Yeah. I saw the cauliflower ear. Grappler.
I've always been a combat sports guy. Like I was a judo guy, and then a wrestler, and da da da. Now I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy because I'm a Mormon.
And I bet all those guys are super into this too. You probably had a million customers immediately.
It's funny because like when you're an athlete, you follow a lot of direction. You have trainers, you have coaches, you have your parent, whatever. Like the thing that keeps driving you, and it's rare. A lot of NFL guys, it's rare that you have stopped and checked in with yourself. And that's the thing here that's becoming really sticky in like the performance people, is they're like, you mean I can just listen to myself? Yeah. Now, take the information we hand you and go to your trainer, your physical therapist, your nutritionist, your. But when you walk in, you can be informed. You don't just have to listen to somebody. The new diet is X. Like, I happen to have something called Candida. Candida is a yeast, okay? It's terrible in my gut. And I know that I can't do like a juice fast because that sugar will make me just explode, right? So I know this about me. So I have to do a different type of, right? Now, is fasting good for you? Absolutely. But what's the element you're taking? Like I have to literally stick to water and tea, because if I add sugar to the equation without the counterpoint of other things, it's terrible. So once I knew that, I could then listen to the right modality person. So I say that to mean that like when you can empower yourself, I don't care what you're doing, like this happens to be wellness, but when you have informed yourself, you can't be lied to. Just makes the equation easier.
So if I put a video in of me speaking 3 years ago, is that possible?
I would ask you to extrapolate the volume from it, but yes.
Yeah,
so
the audio from it.
We work in M4As and WAV files just to have that conversation, but yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, and then I can see the difference between that and me today.
Yeah, you could also do that today and 3 days from now or 5. Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting. There are two things that we're still overcoming. One of them is prepubescent men, because frankly, you're not hitting all the registers yet that you are, which is funny. And secondly is Cantonese. And Cantonese has a specific frequency in the way that they speak, like literally speak, that blows weird harmonics. Other than that, I can do like 135 languages. So if you can pull clean audio out of something you did 3 years ago, I'll tell you what was going on 3 years ago.
3 years ago, I only spoke Cantonese, so I don't think
we're out of business. We're done.
So when my wife is on the phone, because we're both in business, I'm always like, okay, that was a business call because you got your business voice on.
Yeah.
And we give each other shit for that. So, like, what about that? What if I give my business voice in my audio?
So here's the thing. You can always lie to yourself. You can always lie to yourself. And that's what this is. It's like, I hate the expression fake it till you make it, because it should be, if you can see it, you can be it. That's actually what somebody should say to you. And what they say is, just fake it until you make it, which means you'll always be a fraud. So I do a lot of these podcasts and stuff, and I've done a lot of radio, and people have radio voices, and here we are. And I'm like, could you maybe just speak to me as the human being? Because I'm trying to give you information. So if you want the information on the business version of you, go crazy.
Okay.
That's who you'll present. I could do Donald Duck if I really wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to get those questions out personally.
Yeah. Totally valid question. It's always like, well, we lie to ourselves about everything. Like, I used to have hair. If I don't look in the mirror, I sometimes still believe that I have hair.
That's fair, yeah. So in this now world of, AI, and I know kind of when you started in 2024, ChatGPT came out in 2023, I think. There's a lot of like information, of course, that chat or these AI softwares kind of provide. They don't necessarily provide as detail of results that you guys do, where it's like 7 to 9 pages. Is there a concern at all that as AI continues to develop, that it'll kind of be a little bit of a competitor?
Great question. So I have this as my answer for part one. There's a difference between an objective answer and a subjective answer. So right now you can get the greatest objective answer in the world. Hey, ChatGPT, my knee hurts. It will give you 1,000 possible reasons why. Even if you said, hey, ChatGPT, my knee hurts and I did jujitsu last night, it will give you the 1,000. It could be your meniscus. It could be it could. It's missing you, regardless of how you've trained the thing or what have you. So then there's the subjective answer, which is what we provide. It's only you, the context of you. Let me give you the answer. And by the way, I can tell you about your meniscus or your ACL or your MCL because, well, part of your system. So that's part one. Part two is, if you're asking about my business 3 years down the road, I'm fully prepared. I am Intel. What I mean by that, I am a powered by company. I could care less if it's your smart fridge. I don't care if it's your Whoop. I don't care if it's Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. Translation layer. At the end of the day, if you were an investor and there's like, what's your moat? My moat is called an API, and the way that I have developed out the business so that we as a company can exist using our translation layer and recognize every company says it's easier to buy you than to do the R&D. It just is. So I already have the answer. We are already operating as a company. And if you were to ask me 3-5 years from now, well, I already know that Aura and Meta have done a deal. Right? Those are two infrastructure companies. I am not an infrastructure company. What I mean by that is recognize that wearables are how the creditized non-paper cash business is going to exist 10 years from now. You'll be a creditization. And since computers used to be the size of rooms, as they want to tell you, they'll soon just be this. Like, I can just get enough compute in this with a stupid little camera right there. And that's the end of the conversation. Yeah. I have all of your bios and all of your where, what, and hows right here. You're locked in. So
totally.
Out of dystopia, back to reality. I'm a translation layer, so no. My goal actually is to be ubiquitous in the next 3 years. Though I'm building a platform today, it has nothing to do with it. I care about it tomorrow, and I don't mean that flippantly. I mean, like, you have to show people. You need the Pied Piper to show people where things are going, and then somebody goes, oh, cool, I want that. Yeah. And so, no, not really competition. The only competition is the human being that doesn't really want to listen. Other than that, it's just opportunity zones of how do you fit into, if it's Samsung in your smart fridge or if it's your LLM, whatever.
Yeah. So this is obviously great. And I'm on, I'm a little younger and I have I'm in Gen Z, and a lot of Gen Z kids are, coming out and saying, oh, I'm going to do all these crazy cool entrepreneurial ventures and I'm going to be competing with Chipotle. I'm going to create the different style. It's like all this different stuff. But it's like, that's not, and as much as I want to be like a dreamist, right? But it's not realistic. Like, that's definitely not good to do. So I'm glad that I'm glad that you think that way, where it's like you're integrating yourself with the future.
Okay, well, first off, I'm in my 50s and I say this a lot. Like, I have failed a lot and I have no qualms about it. I have a lot of scars. I have a lot of whatever. I also recognize that the rear view mirror is the size that it is, and you're supposed to live through the windshield. Literally meaning like, just make sure that thing behind you doesn't catch you, and you better be living that way because otherwise you're going to get stuck on what could have been. So like the Chipotle thing's interesting. I would be concerned about companies like Wonder, right? Not
Why?
because Wonder has automated the restaurant business to the point that they're going to drop prices so low that it's going to be hard to actually be the next chain. Very hard. What it won't be hard to do, though, is be the best burrito shop in a particular place. And you will blow out companies like Wonder, who have automated the kitchen, and they've bought Grubhub, and they've bought XYZ, and they buy in mass, so their product price is going to go down, and they're going to beat Chipotle by like 35% on pricing. That will never stop somebody being like, damn, that's an awesome burrito.
Yeah.
So it depends upon where you want to compete in the world. Like I again, music business. I have a friend of mine that's like a professional guitar player, but he only plays in wedding bands and lives in Vermont. But he does nothing else but play guitar. Zero. Doesn't bartend. He's a guitar player. Owns 20 guitars. Gets to ski all winter. You know what I mean? Like the variable of being like, I'll never be the guitar player for fill in the band. Fine. Still a professional guitar player. Right? Yep. So that's an important thing to understand. For me, like, I don't really care if you know who I am. I really don't. I care that you're using my product, that I'm making a difference in your life. So the competition set sometimes comes down to ego as opposed to where you fit in the place. I fit right there. I can happily sit in the corner and you not talk to me, and you're still using my shit on your phone. Cool.
Because that feeling, it can't be replicated. If you see someone using your thing that you created, I mean, we have a little bit of that history, just like if we ever saw someone listening to this podcast.
It's as good as it gets.
It's as good as it gets, yeah.
It's as good as it gets. And that's the thing that's kind of like missing in like the run for the roses. It's like there's a weird space between like acquisition and purpose. Like I get it. The better you're doing, the better you should take care of yourself. Totally cool. But if you're chasing that end, believe me, you're not going to get there. One of the interesting things is like there's no such thing as an original idea. So like if you just look at like patents, like the day that the radio was patented, there were 26 of the exact same one. It's given to Marconi, but it really was Tesla, but it really wasn't either of them. They all came to it the same notion. So like you thinking that you're special, and I don't mean that as a human being, I mean that as like a thing, is absurd. Like when the people are like, well, I'm going to be the next Facebook. You're like, well, first off, I hope that you're not. And secondly, recognize that there already is one. So your best bet might be that I'm going to get acquired by Facebook, right?
So do you have like any patents or rights that you need for your business?
So we have a lot of IP. We have a couple patents on the backside. I should say this about my business structure, and I purposely set it up this way so I can move fast. I'm a licensed-based business. So as opposed to having to come up with millions of dollars and buying out the science on day one, I effectively, again, music business, I effectively did a territorial exclusive categorical license, meaning I have direct use of this technology for direct to consumer, so B2C, and B2B2C, that's how enterprise works, so business to consumer. Right? I'm not trying to white label for anybody, so you can't come up to me like, hey, I want to use ToneWell in my app and call it Bill Smith. Nope. You put it in your app as ToneWell. Cool. Right? So I have a categorical license because it was the fastest way to get to the market, which is really important as an entrepreneur. No such thing as perfection. Let the audience tell you what works. So for me, the fastest route through, as opposed to going to raise a couple $1 million to buy something with no proof, was being like, hey guys, I'll pay you a really good license, and the more I do, the less I'll pay you. When I get to whatever, 25 million, I'll be paying you a nickel. Whatever. But by that time, you've made a boatload of cash. And because I'm not going to limit your ability to, as long as you're not competing with me, you can put it in this, that. Cool. The better I do, the better you'll do, because now you can be like, whoa, we're bundled in ToneWell. So I say that to say it depends on how you look at your business. That becomes really important. What really matters for you to own versus how do you get into the market and create revenue and growth and. So I'm a license-based business because again, I wasn't going to come up with I wasn't bankrupting my life just for a good idea. I had a good idea. I'm smart enough to have a conversation with somebody that says, if then. And by the way, if then comes with, if I don't make X by Y, this is over, right? Like the way it goes, like any good agreement. So that's how I found this stuff. But to answer the question, we have patents, we have IP rights, we have all of those things that I share in, but it's not what my business is predicated on.
So what about expenses and overhead? I mean, because it feels like you can just sell this out in the world and it's a cash machine, like it's straight cash, and it feels like you don't have expenses, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I will never have more than 8 employees ever. It's just useless and a waste of capital. It has taken probably, on top of what anybody might think, about $250,000 to get into the market. There's a lot of things.
Why 8? Why 8? That's a random number.
Because I like the number.
That's fair.
No, because it's actually more like 5 or 6. It's probably honestly like 4 full-time people and then 4 freelancers and like you need a compliance. You always keep a human in the middle, so you'll always have a project manager, that type stuff.
But
is
technology
that's how many you have now, though?
No, right now it's myself, my partner, a full-time advisor, and a freelancer.
It feels like technology is just taking on like 90% of the bulk here, so that's why I think it could
Here's the thing. It's like, totally agree. I'm an automated business. The reason I can deliver somebody a report in under 5 minutes, 30 seconds to record, 25 seconds to analyze, and then my workflow takes about 1.5 minutes, and that's only 2.5 minutes. I technically slow it down to 5 minutes because people don't understand value too fast. It's a bizarre human trait. So in like 5 minutes, yes, because I've automated everything, 100%. And I have AI agents for FAQs and my funnels and blah, blah, blah. But you genuinely better keep a person in the middle. So on some level, you need to employ people. It's also cost us about $250,000 just to get into the market. Things that people don't take into account, like AWS isn't free. Buying real tokens for Open API isn't free. Getting consultants to help, like all of that stuff, you have to do it. Like you can't just open a storefront and hang a paper sign kind of thing, right? So there's that. But then the other side of it is, yes, I have a very good margin. That margin is predicated on growth and audience capture, things like CAC and TAM and all of the, acronyms that we throw around. Like, but it's real. You start from 0 on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Reddit or whatever. Doesn't care. I don't care. And you got to pay into them. Those do not return for at least 120 days. You got to be able to do it.
But now you're only getting paid off of individual purchases. There's no year-long subscription, monthly subscription. It's only one purchase.
Yeah, so my model right now is 1 and 3. It's pretty straightforward. Like, I don't want to offer subscription because I don't want people gaming the system. There's no value in you taking a test every day. Your IQ is not going to go up every day. Your wellness is not going to change every day. I want you to build patterns in your life. So there's that. The second one is our next iteration, as I spoke to earlier about the platform. That's where I'll open up a 30-day, a 60-day, and a 90-day because I'd rather you look at it as goals than objects, right? There's a bit of that. And then lastly, just to be frank with you, then there's workflow. Every different offering that you give to somebody, like imagine being a diner, I know they don't exist any longer, and having a menu that has like 45 pages of shit on it. That's how much you have to prepare to make, store, hold, price. So as a business like mine, I want to get you in the door, give you a relationship with us, give you something that really goes, wow, that was amazing, and then have you come back. By the time you've come back a bunch of times, believe me, I'll have another offering. And the reason that I do 3 is mostly for women, to be honest with you. So most women above the age of 35 are in some sort of hormonal shift, or they're counting their clock, or they're having whatever. So like on that level, you probably want to buy 3. Why? Because you should do one right after your cycle, right in the middle of your cycle, and right when you get your period. Like that's how you build a baseline in your hormone stack. Most guys are like, give me 1, let me work on that, I'll come back. Give me 1, let me work on that, I'll come back. Simple.
That's good feedback. Yeah, that's funny. You go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. You'd be the perfect person to kind of ask this, but But I know, like, obviously the girl hormonal is on based on a month, but a guy is based off of 24 hours. So like if you did it in the morning, your testosterone levels are going to be different than if you did it at night. Is that true?
Well, I can't tell you the truth on that. What I can tell you is the pattern on that. Okay. So, like, women tend to be far more analytical. So, they're looking at different outputs. Men are far more what I've found to be functional. So, they're looking to see how things work. So, I can tell you about me. I am a 53-year-old guy. I do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I do not take TRT because once you start that, that is that. What I do, though, is I take a DEHA support, which is the precursor to testosterone, and I take a supplement that helps kill the estrogen because, well, frankly, as you get older, they're the exact same pathway. So for me, that's what I do in my personal stack. But what I do when I measure is like every day is a different day, so you're not going to get an exacta. I do it once a week. I do it when I'm looking for specific things. And that to me is where I find most men operate. Give me the answer, let me go do it, I'll come back, right? It's like that's the thing about hunting and killing. Show me the track, let me hunt the thing down. When I've killed it, I'll come back. And that is, it's just the easiest way to build habits. I've said this a bunch of times. Like, I want you to build a better relationship with yourself. And if you're literally watching your testosterone do this, then you have to watch every other input. What you ate, what you exercise, how you, and it just becomes so overwhelming that most dudes check out. They just check out. It's why most people that drink end up with a beer belly, and you're like, but all you have to do is stop drinking and go to the gym. And they're like, but that's hard. You're like, yeah, well, welcome to life, dude. You know, like, so okay.
So what are your business goals with numbers?
My business goals with numbers are pretty straightforward. In the next calendar year, I want to do 150,000 scans. I don't match by people, I do it by scans. And my goal in the next, I said let's call that year. So in the next 18 months, I want to get to, we'll call it 10,000 scans a month. Now those cast against each other. And I mean that this way. So the first one of 150,000 could have cohorts in them. I'm doing a VA pilot program. 50,000, 150 people becomes 1,500, becomes 150,000. Easy. I have mailing lists. Like I'm working with a company right now that's a 200,000 person mailing list. If I get 1% of that mailing list, life's good. That's that collective. But 18 months from now, I want to be doing 10,000 scans a month, meaning like I want to have been able to have gotten to a big enough audience where I've gotten my 150,000 total, and I want that to cascade down into the regularity, right? Because from about 10,000 scans, the way that I look at it is either 2,500 people doing a scan a week, which is what I hope, right? Or 5,000 people doing a scan every other week, or 10,000 people coming in the funnel. Right. And when you get that mix, that's where you get steady growth.
That's
I don't
compound. Yep.
Right. So I've done, I don't know, 60 products in my life, countless startups that I've talked with and mentored and did agency work for. And I hate hockey stick growth. It scares the shit out of me. Mostly because I understand that's a trajectory. So where you've gone up, you're coming down. I like ladder stepping because you can do that for time in memoriam. So then you need to understand there's always a blend. There are people that are timing out as new people are coming in. Then there are people that are developing habits. I used to do 1, now I do 2, now I do 4. And when you can get that mix, that's when life becomes good. I actually genuinely believe in, let's say 3 years from now, I can be doing 1 million scans a month. But I know that only happens with ubiquity. Like when word of, oh, you don't do ToneWell, and oh my God, I saw the ToneWell commercial, and you know what you need to do, ToneWell. When all of those things slam together, so when my AGO, GEO from your LLM's like, yeah, I could help you, Jake, but you got to go do a ToneWell, meets my advertising in when those things slam together, I'm at 1 million scans a month. That's, if I'm doing numbers.
But only 8 employees. So can you handle 1 million scans a month?
Oh yeah, man, everything's scalable. What I really genuinely need to do is go buy more storage on AWS and more tokens on whatever rail I'm on. Yeah.
Which is sweet. It sounds like you're living in 2045. right now with that style of business.
Okay, so about 1 billion years ago, when I ran an agency, I had to do an e-commerce site for a company called Harney and Son, a huge tea company, and they asked me to build it on something called Magento, which at the time was like the e-commerce platform, and I was totally lost. So I ended up going to a Salesforce and then an OBI and Oracle meeting for their cloud computing. And one of their guys explained to me what was then called organized data. Now, when I started in the music business and I had like a job in the music business, not like hunting bands, I was a retail forecaster and I had to build a database using FileMaker, which is precursor to Excel. So fast forward to the Oracle Salesforce conversation when they explained to me organized data. It's just a moving database. Then move another about 5 years forward. I'm running an agency in New York and somebody showed up for me to do an ICO in blockchain and I got it like that because blockchain is organized data. Now fast forward to where we are today, like I don't believe the world stops ever. It just keeps turning. Now recognize they're the exact same systems. So in 1990, when I had to build a database for somebody using FileMaker, that is what blockchain is today. Because FileMaker, you had to literally make like little cards and title and information and reference and why so that it could cross-reference. Then Oracle launched the dynamic database using these type things, right? So it just keeps moving. So I'm only married to my wife. Everything else is just an idea. Like seriously, like oh, that's a better idea. Let's do that. So I'm not tethered. It's why this makes sense to me because I'm not Function Health, who by the way,
I was going to bring them up.
Okay, who by the way has raised hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, of which they've spent $85+ million into cancer treatment centers. So what are they going to tell you? Probably a precursor to cancer, but they're doing the thing that your grandparents did. They're just doing it from home. A blood test from home. Still draw blood. You still need a phlebotomist. You still need pee in this cup. Okay, I have this right here. So you're telling me that I could push you an SMS text that you click into a cloud, 30 seconds later, you're done? Now, which is more interesting? To me, mine, not just because I'm doing it, but because I also understand, like, people act in the now. I want that now. I want to do that now. I don't feel well now. What's happening now? Not, yep. I want to do this. I'm going to run 100 tests for you. They don't tell you what those 100 tests are. And I'm not trying to knock them, you know, Mark Hyman, congratulations, started a Canyon Ranch, became friends with the Clintons, told you that you should eat more vegetables than carbs. Awesome. Great. Happy for you. That does not mean that in today's world, they're trying to make it frictionless. And friction is the thing that stops all of us from doing the next thing, right? Like, that's too hard. That takes too much time. I don't have the XYZ for that. Well, if I eliminate that and I'm like, dude, this is about you building your relationship, then that's really where it is. So I'm always looking forward. I'm always looking at the next. I want to know, how do I get into more people? It's the conversation I'm having with the VA. I legitimately said to them, why don't you give me your cohort of guys in the most remote, hardest way to get to that won't go to the clinic because they're in Montana and 65 miles away. And they were like, really? Why? I said, because I'm already in their pocket. Believe me, they have a phone in their pocket. I'm already there. And they went, oh, you're right. So that's just how I think. Again, it's a music business thing. Like, honestly, like, I'm not looking for the band that sounded like XYZ over there. I'm looking for the next thing.
Well, that's what I think is super cool about you and your story is you're not a doctor. You're not a nerd from Stanford that's 23 years old. Yep. You're a normal guy with a background that is not necessarily in health or business, right? I mean, you got some of those things maybe, but it makes me more engaged into hearing your story and to being a big fan of what you're developing because you're a normal guy. You're a guy's guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like that. So like I say this to people and they kind of look at me a little strange. Like, I'm not trying to save anybody. I'm trying to lead by example. They're different. I was a lifeguard when I was like a teenager, right? And I promise you, when I swam up to you, my foot was extended under the water. You are not drowning me here, bro. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to get you to calm down, maybe take a breath. I'm going to explain to you how I can get you back to the shore, and then I can pull you back to the shore, and you're going to be the guy kicking also, by the way. And I think that becomes really important. So like I said earlier, like, I'm interested in people's well-being. Wellness is a sales category. It really, truly is. What supplement, what vitamin, what doctor, what modality? Oh, I do hyperbaric. No, I do red light. No, I do cold plunge. Cool. I hope that you do it all. But you need to understand is that like you need to get involved in that. And as somebody that has like I've launched so many other people's careers and supplements and vitamins and fragrance and skincare and thought leaders and gurus and all of that stuff. And I will tell you, they're all the same. Once you have a DNA, this is what I am, you need to find the box, proverbial or literal, and then the shelf that it goes on so somebody can interact with you. And because I have hardcore science behind what we're doing, like hardcore science, you want the white papers, you want, sure, here, I have a document you can choke on. I promise you won't read it. Then it actually takes somebody like me to have real conversations with human beings and to engage with somebody. I do a sport that is predicated on people trying to kill me. And the more I can stay in my element and stay calm and recognize what's coming at me, the easier it gets. Now, I happen to be a black belt. I happen to be doing it for a long period of time. But I live in Pennsylvania, so I still have 19-year-old Division I wrestlers show up thinking they can out-wrestle me. And you could, but we're doing jiu-jitsu. So, like, on some level, like, that's what being an entrepreneur is. It's like, where's the pivot? There's a great expression that I learned in jiu-jitsu, which is you have to learn to flow with the go. And most people will say, don't you mean go with the flow? Well, as the Brazilian man that explained it to me said, and he was speaking about jiu-jitsu, though I've taken it into my life, if you happen to go with the flow, you will fall for anything. If you flow with the go, you will wait for your opportunity, and when you see it, you will seize it. And that's where I'm at in my life. I have an enormous amount of experience. And like I've said earlier, I failed a lot of times. But I've also had a great amount of success. I was a CMO of an MP3 server in the Middle East with billions of customers. Cool. You want me to sit in that chair and do that job? I can do that. So when this came into my life, it was like a chocolate and peanut butter moment. Like these two things slammed together and like, that's much better. So I appreciate that you look at me as like just a normal dude, because I am just a normal dude. And I don't want to preach to anybody. I'm not even interested in trying to be like,
people I want normal results. I don't want the Whoop results. So I want a normal dude telling me normal
things. And you should be able to read those results and do something with them. Like, yes, I will point out, here's the 37-letter word that you're missing. But the actual answer is take magnesium glycinate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or take whatever, zinc or whatever it is, and that's one of the problems is, like I was saying earlier, is like we have these authority sets of people that are pretending to be something, as opposed to like, can't we just break it down to the basics? And one of the beautiful things about the age that we're living in, this like quantum era that we're living in, is that like it should be faster and simpler, not slower and more complex. And that's what I'm trying to do, faster and simpler. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, so there is. So one of the things I really like about Gary Brecken, I genuinely like him, ridiculously smart human being, is that he's not married to a thing. He is married to the concept of cellular regeneration, better bioinformation, and how you deliver those things. So he is on my radar. I hope that I'm on his radar. I hope that we come together in a conversation. I'm also talking to a lot of people in like the mastermind thought leader world, because if you really think that like focus comes from just like your willpower, you're kind of missing the boat a bit. You need to actually have the battery that has the parts in it to be able to do it. So I'm talking with like a lot of like mastermind. It's kind of biohacking. Like if you're gonna go to the whatever seminar this weekend, you should probably do a ToneWell on Thursday so that Friday you could totally regenerate, like really get yourself so that by the time Sunday rolls around, you're not totally crashed out, and like that notion of like, how do I find better results comes with how do I find better answers. So the guys like Gary Brucka, and I'm really big fan of his. I'm not a big fan of the Brian Johnsons, I've spent $20 million and I'm gonna live forever, and you're like, but I don't have $20 million, right? Like, and by the way, it's kind of funny that you now have a supplement line. Like people ask me, what do you say? You will never catch ToneWell selling product. Ever. If I say take and I'm just, because I've said it a million times, if I say take magnesium glycinate and you can afford it from CVS, okay. If you can find the super bespoke blah 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 version, okay. It's, you're like, you have to get into the opportunity so that you're like, well, I now want to get the better version. I now want, that's on you. Aspirational buying is on who the person is. My goal is like, we are ridiculously sick, not just in this country, but in this world. And we are deficient on things that you could actually do something about. You could actually buy zinc and magnesium and boron and manganese, and you can buy these things. Like, they're available, right? And you just don't know. Like, you'll walk into a vitamin shop and you see thousands of rows of things, but you don't know why. I had no idea that I needed boron. Total true story. Until I did a ToneWell and I called my partner, who is a doctor, and I said, his name is Bear. And I was like, hey, Bear, what do I need boron for? He's like, well, Alex, let me tell you. And I went, oh, cool. So should I take it? He said, yeah, I would take it if I were you. And I said to him, why have you never told me this before? He's like, because it's like the 36th thing I would have said. So I'm only going to tell you the top 5. But now that you know that it's in your top 5, go do it. Right? And like, that's where like real opportunity for everybody fits. It's like, we're all made as the same shit. Like, seriously, stardust and carbon, it's awesome, but you're put together differently. And when I have conversations with some people about ToneWell, I legitimately just say, and in the beginning there was the word. That is the first line of the Bible, which means that everything was spoken into creation, right? So like, how you make it through this world is how you speak about yourself, what you are saying, how you're saying it, and frankly, that's how you can also like come to grips with how to build yourself better. Yes. So we just opened our seed round of it's a $3 million raise on a safe note. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. Like, I have 3 full-time jobs. I have ToneWell full-time job. I still see clients full-time job, and now I'm raising money full-time job. Raising money is a full-time job. There is an enormous amount of paperwork because I'm trying to do it officially. Like, I'm out of friends and family world. So I now have to do filings and questionnaires and paperwork, which is like mind-numbing, but has to be done. Awesome lesson for the record. Anybody that's running a business, super important to do it right the first time, because I'd like to have a 11-figure exit or whatever, and if you screwed it up on day one, guess what? No 11-figure exit. So I've had to bring in attorneys and accountants and all of that stuff. You right? But it's going well. So the way that we're doing it, just if anybody cares, is, as I said, it's a $3 million seed round based on a safe note with a 20% discount for the first $1 million. Simply meaning like up to $20 million, the investors get a 20% discount on the value to their investment, which is awesome because the next time you go to the next round, their value obviously comes up. It's going really well. I'm hitting really good, like what I'll call small ticket people, 50,000, 100,000. I'm waiting for the person to come in and lead the round. Like, I have big check. You know, it's an interesting world. There are a couple things that we do that are really interesting to people, but I don't predicate my business on them, like AI. I think that's the first time I've used AI in this conversation. It's obviously part of my business, as I've called it automated workflows, but I'm not trying to build an AI. I'm using AI as tools. So that's a really interesting set in what we're doing. There's a lot of interest in health and wellness, as you would imagine. And I would like to think that we're building for a business of tomorrow. You know, like all things, you got to see more dogs. Just got to get more swings at the ball. And that's an everyday thing of networking and reaching out to groups and family office and hello, my name is, and I've been on LinkedIn since 2003, so I have a pretty robust LinkedIn group, and just going, and don't take any of it personally. I'm not right for you. I'll see you later. Whatever. It's no big deal. It's business, right? So that is where Teflon is built. Like, just being like, cool. Thanks for the half an hour. See you later. I'll never hear from that person again. Click. Next. Hey, how are you, man? Like, just gotta go.
I think you have 4 full-time jobs because I saw you're the best papa ever in your mug that you.
I am. My mug says it, but here's the thing: it's because I have 2 cats and a dog. My child is grown and out of the house. So yes, my dog who wants a walk right now, my 2 cats, and my wife will tell you that I am the best papa.
That's impressive. There's a lot of papas out there, and you're the best.
So I'm the best. My cup says it. I have it written down. My cup says it. Nobody else.
In writing, it exists. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I am a human being that is super easy to be found. I am like the first Alex Fredericks on Google, fortunately. ToneWell is tonewell.co, TONEWELL.co, and you can find us. My only OCD in the world is I have no unread messages. It's like seriously, I have no unread emails, no unread texts, no unread DMs. It drives me crazy. Like that's the thing that drives me nuts. So if anybody has a question, I promise you'll get an answer. And I just appreciate you guys having me on. I'm always down for a good conversation, and I think this was a good one.
It really was.
Awesome.
10,000 a month, baby. Only if you like it.